Hello and welcome. You are watching In Your Interest here on News 9 Live. I am Krishna Kumar. These are our headlines. India's stock markets end on a weak note with the Nifty closing below 25,850 and the Sensex shedding more than 1,200 points. Except for the metal sector, all other sectoral indices see declines, particularly auto, banking, IT, telecom, pharma and realty, which all fell anywhere between 1 to 2%. Top losers on the Nifty included Hero Motorcorp, Trent, Axis Bank, Reliance Industries and ICICI Bank. The gainers were JSW Steel, Hindalco Industries, NTPC, Tata Steel and ONGC. Bitcoin is all set to post one of its best September ever, powered by a spate of rate cuts by central banks, fueling money into the asset class, helping it reverse the monthly downtrend it has been witnessing for the decade. The US Fed, European Central Bank, as well as the People's Bank of China all have cut borrowing costs in September to support growth, pushing asset classes across the board higher. Fintech firm Cred reports a 66% rise in revenues during financial year 2024 to more than 2,400 crore rupees. The company has also reduced its operational losses by 41% to a little over 600 crore rupees. The Bengaluru-based firm had reported 1,400 crore rupees in revenues during the last financial year, and its losses had stood at over 1,000 crore rupees. BharatPe announces that it had reached the settlement with former co-founder Ashnil Grover, who will no longer be associated with the company. As part of the settlement, Grover will not be associated with BharatPe in any capacity, nor be a part of the shareholding of the company. From Flipkart to Amazon and Myntra to Meesho, e-commerce companies and retailers at large have all seen the festive season kick off on a high. As per Datum Intelligence, a market research firm focused on consumer technology, which collected sales data for 3 days beginning 26th of September, the first day of the flagship sale this year. You are watching In Your Interest, and the first big story we're taking up on this edition of In Your Interest is hustle culture. Are we seeing the beginning of the end of hustle culture? Following the tragic death of Ernst Young employee Anna Sebastian Perayil, there has been outrage and a renewed debate surrounding contemporary corporate work culture. Anna's death has prompted widespread discussions about the pressures and expectations placed on employees in today's corporate world, particularly in relation to the glorification of hustle culture. Anna's mother, Anita Sebastian, had made some serious allegations against the company EY, claiming that her daughter did not receive any compensation, compensatory time off or weekends off during her tenure. Following the media uproar surrounding Anna's tragic death, Anita reported that she finally received the company's full and final settlement on the 18th of September, only after media pressure. According to Anita, Anna's offer letter explicitly stated that in the event of her untimely demise, EY would provide a payment of 3 times her loss drawn CTC or cost to company. In a response to the Labour Department, SRBC EY's representative claimed that they had deposited 28.5 lakh rupees into Anna's account for her employment from March to July 2024. The firm maintained that it had provided double remuneration and compensatory time off for additional work. However, Anita refuted these assertions, insisting that the funds received by her family were part of the company's policy after the unfortunate demise of an employee, not remuneration for extra work. Meanwhile, addressing the glorification of hustle culture, Swiggy Marketplace CEO Rohit Kapoor recently challenged the notion of needing to do crazy hours for work, advocating for a healthier balance, while acknowledging that hard work is still necessary to achieve success. Kapoor's comments comes amidst growing concerns about workplace pressures and toxic work cultures, especially in the light of Anna's tragic death. So are we seeing the beginning of the end of hustle culture? To understand that, we have a very special guest joining us. We have Mr. Prabir Jha, distinguished HR strategist, founder and CEO, Prabir Jha, People Advisory. Prabir, thank you so much for taking time to be with us here on In Your Interest. I'm going to begin by asking you this. The tragic death of Anna, and you're seeing the reactions to what Swiggy's food marketplace CEO Rohit Kapoor had to say, there is huge awareness and probably enlightenment about how to go about conducting the work of your life, at the same time living your life.
So, Krishna, thank you. Always lovely being on your show, and it's very redeeming that Rohit has talked what he did, and my compliments to him. Uh, but since you talked about is it the end of the hustle culture, unfortunately, I don't see that happening, because the biggest challenge that I see in corporates is there's no problem of talking the talk. The issue is about walking the talk. And I think that hypocrisy of leadership is what really concerns me the more I see it from the outside and I continue to observe stories, episodes, and experiences. So it is sad, it's unfortunate. It is redeeming to have someone like Rohit talk about it. But why only him? Why not many others? Why not 100 other leaders? So one is just the quantum of talk. It's a very, very small beginning. But I think talking the talk is the easier part. Walking the talk is very important. And from my own experience, Krishna, as a CHRO of some of India's largest companies, 20 years ago almost, or at least 17, 18 years ago, we had a similar issue where socially I would be told that why in your then company, people don't even have their weekends really free. And when I say walking the talk is one of the big things I did, I changed the leave norms. Employees also sometimes hoard leave because they get it as an encashed amount and which is tax free at the end of their career. But it's also important for us to send a signal. We will not want you to look at it as a financial incentive. You need to rejuvenate. You need to spend time with the family. And the same words which Rohit said, I remember 18 years ago, I was talking to the employees and telling them why it is important. Or when in Reliance, I moved it from a 6-day week to a 5-day week. So I think a lot more of action has to happen. I never did. I called a meeting in my entire career on the weekend, or I never sat into a late meeting, that I chaired, never ever in my life. And I don't think that these were small jobs or easy jobs. So I would like to see a lot more of demonstrated actioning by CEOs and leaders in the C-suite rather than just the talk. I think that's very important.
Right. I also, talking about big CEOs, their statements, you saw what Harsh Goenka of RPG Group had to say. He spoke about how in the early part of your career, you should look to learn more rather than earn more. And then you got slammed by some of the audience which said that, you come from a position of privilege. You can talk about learning, but then so many of us, overwhelming majority of us don't come from the privilege, and we need every penny that we earn. And you see what went on with the compensation towards Anna Sebastian Perayil and the controversy surrounding that as well. So clearly money worries, are an important factor for young people, in the workforce to continue enduring toxic work culture.
So, Krishna, you're bang on. It takes two to tango. So while companies have reasons to be blamed, companies also realize that in India, it's a very talent rich market. So, if a guy leaves the company or unfortunately there would be, a demise, it will not take 5 minutes to replace you. And this is what my dad told me 20 years ago. Exactly the same thing, that you guys don't take leave, you don't do this and that. But the company will not take 5 minutes to replace your position. So it's also a choice of the individual employee. They don't do enough of scrutiny about the culture of the company, and there is a trade-off. And the fact of the matter is, it's literally from the frying pan to the fire in most cases, because most companies, unfortunately, have celebrated this because that's been the role model leadership they have experienced. So when they become a leader, it's the same thing. So it is an element of choice. And many years later, when I now talk to my children who are now working in similar environments, and they tell me, Dad, it's very easy for you to tell this today, but you know how it is. But it's not so. One of my big regrets is, why did I have to slave the hours that I did? And with the benefit of hindsight, you realize that trade-offs are just not worth it. But unfortunately, the peer pressure, the societal ways of judging you, even the family judging you, forces youngsters to kind of continue to be on the treadmill, which is a very lovely situation for a manager, because he or she can continue to call you at 2 o'clock in the morning and get you on a call, push long evenings. The weekends are not yours. And So many companies are guilty of this, but you're absolutely right. It takes the other side also to accept. And if you are really good, at the end of the day, walk out and try and follow or do the trade-offs that matter to you. So it is actually a very delicate balance between both sides. You can't have the cake and eat it too.
Right, but the fact of the matter is that, post the pandemic, we're living in that post-pandemic world when there's greater understanding, especially from people entering the workforce, already in the workforce, on what they value in life. Once upon a time, if somebody wanted to just climb up the corporate ladder, put in those, burn the midnight oil just to climb up the corporate ladder, those aspirations have changed. Clearly, millennials don't seem to be having the, millennials and Gen Z specifically speaking, do not have those aspirations of just wanting to climb up the corporate ladder one way or the other. People's approach and aspirations from a job has changed dramatically, haven't they?
They have, and I would be the last person to kind of disagree with you. But having said that, if that were the case, and the companies which in COVID time said that we are going to give anywhere, work from anywhere as a permanent option to employees, they've all rescinded that conveniently. Everyone wants their employees back. Otherwise, their increments are at stake, their promotions are at stake. You just have to read the papers. And these were the same marquee organizations who talked all the big talk about, how this has changed the world. So my issue is, it's back to my favorite theme of hypocrisy of leadership. So while people may value, the question is, can they step away? And if so, go to which place? There are very few exceptions which allow you truly the flex of time, place, and at the end of the day, don't hold it against you. So, it is still a very chicken and egg story. Who should kind of start first? Should it be the employees or should it be the companies? And actually, finally, it comes down to the power of economics. Whoever has the upper hand at that time kind of plays it thick, and whoever is not in a position to negotiate flexes at that time. So generationally, yes, at a very a broad level, but if you start breaking it down to individuals, the same people also want to build their careers. They also want to grow up higher. And the fact is that someone or the other snapping at your heels. So in India, we have a particularly different problem because talent supply is not your biggest problem. And unfortunately for many companies, which is back to that 70-hour debate, which on your channel also we had opportunities of discussing, companies still value hours at work rather than the quality of outcome in the hours that you spend. Until that mindset changes, which if you ask me, we are miles away still, because the CEOs may speak whatever they speak, but the reality is it's all about blind hours at work. We are not productive companies in most cases. Our meetings are not productive. There's a lot of FOMO about sitting through meetings, and that entire mess. We can keep talking about the millennials, etc., but the problem is whatever it is.
Right, Prabir Jha, they're giving us that very important perspective. Prabir, as always, pleasure having you here on the show. Thank you so much for taking time to be this year on In Your Interest. And with that, we take a very short breather. We'll be back with lots more on the other side. Keep it with News 9 Live.
Joe Biden is not going to be the Democratic presidential nominee.
I made my choice. Kamala Harris. She's experienced. She's tough. She's capable.
I took on perpetrators of all kinds. Predators. So hear me when I say, I know Donald Trump's type.
I am the one saving democracy.
He has tapped into the fear and anxiety about demographic change in the US.
This polarization in the United States. Some people are even suggesting that there could be a civil war.
You are this unable to solve your own domestic problems. You have no right to claim to be anybody else in the world, and we're moving into a multipolar world where the United States will not lead.
This and more. Streaming on News 9 Plus. Subscribe and get free vouchers.
Have not quite lived up to pre-tournament billing, delivering a series of less than convincing performances. With 2 draws and a solitary win.
Your son will be Messi. No studies, just football all day.
draws and a
Go, my son, go. Make my face shine through playing football.
Not only your face, but also the country's. I will conquer the world by playing football. Come, let's go to Germany!
World's largest football talent hunt, News 9 Indian Tigers and Tigresses. In association with DFB Pokal, Bundesliga, BBB and India Football Center. Train and play matches in Europe. Register now and fly to Germany. IndianTigersandTigresses.com.
A warrior so brave he'll forever be hailed.
Maharashtra is a hit.
Maharashtra tourism.
You are watching In Your Interest here on News 9 Live, and the big story we're discussing is one that will shock you. Can you imagine a group CEO being duped of crores and crores of rupees? Well, that's what cyber fraudsters have done. In one of the biggest scams recently, SP Oswald, chairman of the Vardhman group, was defrauded of 7 crore rupees. Can you imagine being shown a fake CBI arrest warrant and being told you're about to be arrested? That's exactly what happened. The scamsters, posing as CBI officials, pressured Oswald into transferring the money to multiple bank accounts to avoid arrest. Thankfully, police have already arrested 2 of the suspects and managed to recover little over 5 crore rupees. But the case does not stop them. The authorities believe more members of the gang from Assam and West Bengal specifically are involved. Why are industrialists becoming prime targets? SP Oswald's case is not isolated. Just a week before, another industrialist, Rajneesh Ahuja, fell victim to a similar scam. Fraudsters extorted over 1 crore rupees from him using almost the same playbook, a fake arrest warrant and threats of legal consequences. It's becoming clear that scamsters are focusing on high-profile targets, using fear and intimidation to make people act before they can even think things through. How a Bengaluru woman fell for a FedEx scam. It's not just industrialists being targeted in Bengaluru. A 31-year-old marketing executive lost over 51 lakh rupees after receiving a call claiming her Aadhaar card was linked to a drug smuggling operation. Over a 10-hour Skype call, yes, 10 hours. Scammers convinced her to take out a 50 lakh rupee loan, which they then drained from her accounts. They even used fake CBI documents and an imposter posing as a cybercrime officer. Look at the lengths that these scammers can go to. They're terrifying. Digital arrest scams are on the rise, and the stories are as chilling as they are convincing. These scams involve cyber criminals posing as officials from agencies like the CBI, police, or even courier companies. They intimidate victims with threats of arrest or legal action and ultimately trick them into handing over huge sums of money. So how do these scams work? Well, the technique is all about fear. Fraudsters tell their victims that they're involved in serious crimes, money laundering, drug smuggling, you name it, and to add more pressure, they keep their victims under constant surveillance via video calls, making sure they don't reach out for help. Victims are so scared that they end up transferring the money, thinking it will keep them out of trouble. Now, here's how you can stay safe. Thankfully, law enforcement is fighting back. Thousands of Skype IDs and SIM cards linked to these scamsters have been blocked. If you get one of these intimidating calls, stop first and verify the number. Real government officers will never demand money over a call. You can also report these scams on the cybercrime helpline 1930 or through the official cybercrime website cybercrime.gov.in. Staying aware and cautious is your best defense against digital arrest scams. And to talk about it more, we have Dr. Shashank Shekhar, co-founder, Future Crime Research Foundation, FCRF. Dr. Shekhar, thank you so much for taking time out to be with us. I'm going to begin by asking you, even the group CEO of a company has not been spared. From group CEOs to regular employees, digital scamsters, digital fraudsters are holding people with fear. What is the first step for people watching this broadcast? What should they do and how should they react?
Rightly said, he was the company CEO managing so many employees, multi-million business. And this is not just not about the CEO. In fact, if you see all the top government officials, IT professionals, everybody is falling victim to it. And I think digital literacy plays a very important role. Cyber education is the need of our. And in fact, the Home Minister Amit Shah, in his last press conference, he also emphasized that only with people becoming more aware about the recent crime and these kind of threats, then only they can stay safe. So I think cyber awareness is the key here, and we have to follow zero trust when we are dealing with people things that is online. And zero trust means that you go and verify everything that you see, that you hear, and that you watch online.
Right, you have to verify, but these calls, first is that we all had an app to tell us whether it's a spam call or not, but these calls escape the those radars as well, don't they?
Rightly said. In fact, Department of Telecom is working on it now. In some time to come, whenever you get a call, you'll get the name of the person on which the SIM is registered. In fact, government is taking many steps. If you're getting a call from banker, you will get a call from a specific number, so that it is coming from a bank, or you're getting this number from an individual. So steps are being taken, but India being such a large country, I think awareness is the key role to play, and also we have a long way to go. Obviously, government will take some measures. Cyber criminals will find a loophole. It's always a cat and mouse game, and key here is awareness.
Right. Key here is awareness, and awareness basically means that nobody can call and ask you to transfer money. Literally nobody does that, isn't it? The moment you see that happening, that should be a red flag for you to figure out the fact that there is something wrong over here.
Absolutely. First of all, there is nothing called digital arrest. Police will never digitally arrest you. Second, police will never ask money for any investigation or anything directly. The worst thing here is we are scared of law enforcement or the police officers who are actually there to help us. These criminals understand this very well, and they manipulate our psychology. And with the fear psychosis, they make us believe that police officers are there to arrest us, and they will take money. And fearing all that, fearing police action, these victims tend to give all the money and all the details to these scamsters.
Right.
I think here we have to be friends with police officers. We need to there has to be confidence in them, and we have to immediately report it to them also, instead of getting scared with them.
Right. The point I want to make is that what is the one critical action that people should take to be safe? The moment they get a call like this, from the first call onwards, it is important should they start recording that phone call the moment they figure out that something is wrong, so they can provide a recording to the authorities when needed, or call the helpline, that is the cyber crime helpline immediately?
Absolutely. The most important thing is gathering evidences. First of all, I get a lot of spam call. I get a lot of such fake calls. I immediately record it, but also asking them for some time. Obviously, you can say that you can just give me a call back and go and verify it first online. Always you will find a series of complaints. If you just look at any modus operandi, you just Google it, you'll find something similar online where somebody has shared their ordeal, their similar complaint. And obviously 1930 is there to help. In case somebody has become a victim of cybercrime, it's very important to call 1930 and alert them. In fact, if you are seeing or noticing a new type of threat or new type of modus operandi, it is also important to inform 1930 so that they also, take a note of it.
So those are the precautions that one needs to take. But how do you see the fact that how come a group CEO was not able to do it? How come some of these and he's not alone in this matter. So many high-profile, officials. How did they not think of this in the first place?
So we have done research in a lot of cases, and what we have seen that these cyber criminals are also very well equipped. So they have some kind of data, like the Bangalore case you mentioned. the woman's Aadhaar card was there with these cyber criminals. So first step is these cyber criminals using leaked data, they try and just win your confidence that yes, we know that you are so and so person, or this is your identity. Then they go in the second step where they kind of threat you. Like FedEx scam, they will tell you that you have sent a courier using this Aadhaar number, and then they will tell you that there is a drug in your parcel. Or say in this case, they knew that he is a big businessman, and they also threatened that you have some link with money laundering. Obviously, you call a normal person, he won't be that scared, but they have some backgrounder here. So first, they have some backgrounder. Second, these scams are so well crafted these days that there is a usage of IVR number. Then they will properly dress up as cops. They will show the notice. They will show all the documents. They will even talk on walkie-talkie. You will feel like that this person on the Skype call is actually talking to senior officer, taking commands and, communicating with them. So their script is very thorough in this, and also the payment method. They will try and make it as professional as they can.
Right. So that's how good these scamsters are, and that's the reason why we need to be as aware as possible and take action immediately. Dr. Shashank Shekhar, co-founder, Future Crime Research Foundation, thank you so much for taking time out to be with us. And with that, we've completely run out of time in this edition of In Your Interest. Thank you so much for watching. This is Krishna Kumar signing off.
Hey, careful, huh? My daddy got it from abroad. Hey, disaster! How will you pay for the loss now?
In stock market, you should take risk as per your capacity and knowledge. Trade in options very carefully.
Wow, Dikra! Absolutely perfect. Take risk with full understanding.
सोच कर, समझ कर, invest कर.
Give it to me, pass.
We'll put new glasses in the windows and they keep breaking it. This is the fourth time. You are playing football throughout the day. Will you win the world by playing football?
Yes, uncle. I will now conquer the world by playing football. Let's go to Germany.
World's largest football talent hunt, News 9 Indian Tigers and Tigresses. In association with DFB Pokal, Bundesliga, BVB and India Football Center. Train and play matches in Europe. Register now and fly to Germany. IndianTigersandTigresses.com.
How do you fulfill that promise? Because ultimately expectations have to be met. If you look at the political landscape, is it really changing for women? And what is the inability of the forces that dead bodies surface but not the living people?